Lana here. And before you scroll, pause for a moment, because this message is not random. Someone who once turned their back on you, someone who believed words that were never yours, is now standing face to face with the truth. And the shift happening in their energy right now is powerful, uncomfortable, and impossible for them to ignore. What's coming to light has been hidden for a long time, and the universe chose now for a reason. As I opened the cards, three energies stepped forward very clearly. The Seven of Swords, Justice, and Judgment. These cards don't come together by accident. They speak of deception, realization, and a moment of reckoning. There is a deep emotional wave tied to this spread, because it's not just about facts coming out. It's about regret, guilt, and the weight of knowing they were wrong about you. This reading carries the feeling of someone replaying conversations in their mind, suddenly noticing the cracks in the lies they once trusted. The truth didn't arrive gently for them. It arrived loudly, through signs, through realizations, through moments they can't explain away anymore. And as the energy unfolds, it becomes clear that this awakening is changing how they see you, themselves, and the choices they made. Stay with Lana, because what these three cards reveal next goes much deeper than simple misunderstanding. This is about karma activating, eyes opening, and a truth that can no longer be denied. When the Seven of Swords, Justice, and Judgment appear together around the theme of someone who believed lies about you and now sees the truth, they tell a complete story of deception being exposed, balance being restored, and awakening taking place. These cards move step by step through the emotional and spiritual process that unfolds when truth finally replaces illusion. The Seven of Swords represents the foundation of this situation. It shows that the truth about you was distorted, hidden, or deliberately twisted. Lies were spoken, intentions were misrepresented, and information was handled dishonestly. This card reveals that someone trusted words without verifying them and accepted a false narrative because it felt easier or safer at the time. It wasn't necessarily about evil intent from the one who believed the lies, but about avoidance and convenience. They didn't want to confront complexity, so they accepted a simplified, inaccurate version of you. This card also shows secrecy and manipulation. Someone may have benefited from keeping the truth away from them, and the Seven of Swords confirms that what you experienced was not imagined. Your confusion, hurt, or isolation came from real deception. However, this card also carries the seed of exposure. Lies have a weakness. They cannot remain consistent. Over time, cracks appeared. Stories didn't align. Behaviors contradicted what they had been told. Slowly, the illusion weakened. Justice enters as the turning point. This card shows the moment when emotional bias fades and clear thinking begins. The person who once believed lies starts reassessing everything. They look back at events, conversations, and choices with a more neutral perspective. Justice is about truth being weighed carefully, not emotionally. It shows that they are no longer relying on someone else's version of events. Instead, they are observing facts, patterns, and your actual character. Justice also represents accountability. The person now realizes that they judged you unfairly. They understand that believing lies led them to treat you incorrectly, distance themselves, or make decisions that were not aligned with truth. This realization carries emotional weight. Justice does not allow denial. It requires honesty. Even when that honesty is uncomfortable, the scales shift, and what was once believed without question is now questioned deeply. This card also speaks of karmic balance. While you may have felt wronged or misunderstood, justice confirms that the universe did not ignore what happened. Truth has its own timing, and when it arrives, it restores equilibrium. This card reassures that your integrity mattered. Even in silence, your energy remained aligned, and that alignment is now being recognized. Judgment is the final stage of this process. Where justice is awareness, judgment is awakening. This card represents a profound inner realization that changes how the person sees everything. It is not just about knowing they were wrong. It is about understanding the impact of that mistake. Judgment brings emotional reckoning. The person becomes aware of how believing lies altered their connection with you and possibly changed the course of events. Judgment shows deep reflection. Memories resurface with new meaning. Moments where they doubted you now feel heavy with regret. This card reveals that the truth has reached their soul, not just their mind. They are no longer questioning whether the lies were false. They know it, and that knowing cannot be undone. This card also carries the energy of responsibility and potential redemption. Judgment often brings the urge to clear the past, to acknowledge wrongdoing, or to seek forgiveness, whether outwardly or internally. Even if no apology is spoken, the awareness exists. The person is changed by what they now understand. Judgment is the death of illusion and the rebirth of clarity. Together, these three cards show a powerful progression. The Seven of Swords shows how deception controlled perception. Justice shows the moment of truth being evaluated and balance being restored. Judgment shows the awakening that permanently alters understanding. This combination confirms that lies did not win. They only delayed the truth. Emotionally, this spread validates your experience. It confirms that you were misjudged, not because of your actions, but because of false information. It also shows that your decision to remain composed, truthful, and aligned allowed the universe to work on your behalf. You did not need to force clarity. It arrived naturally. With a person who believed lies, this is a difficult but necessary lesson. They are learning discernment, responsibility, and the cost of trusting the wrong voices. For you, it is confirmation that truth always finds its way back, even when it takes time. This combination ultimately speaks of restoration. What was taken from you, understanding, fairness, or trust, is now being energetically returned. The truth has been seen, the scales have balanced, and awareness has been activated. The chapter shaped by lies is closed, and clarity now stands where confusion once lived. Judgment arrives in this reading like a wake-up call that cannot be ignored. This card speaks of awakening, realization, and the moment when denial finally ends. In the story of someone who believed lies about you and now sees the truth, judgment represents the instant their soul recognizes what their mind tried to avoid. This is not a soft realization. It is powerful, emotional, and life-changing. The truth didn't whisper to them. It called them out. Judgment shows that this person has reached a point where they can no longer run from what they know. The lies that once shaped their perception have collapsed, and in their place stands clarity. This card reflects a deep internal reckoning, where past decisions are reviewed with honesty. They are looking back and seeing the moments where they misjudged you, dismissed you, or pulled away. And now those memories carry a completely different meaning. Emotionally, judgment brings a flood of realization. There is regret here, but also understanding. They are recognizing that believing lies about you altered the course of their relationship with you, whether that relationship was close, distant, romantic, or emotional. This card shows tears behind closed doors, heavy thoughts, and the painful awareness that time was lost because of false narratives. Judgment also represents accountability on a soul level. This is not about blaming others anymore. Even if someone else spread the lies, this person now understands that they chose to believe them, and that understanding is humbling. Judgment strips away excuses and forces honesty. They are asking themselves how they allowed someone else's words to outweigh your truth. Spiritually, this card shows a rebirth of perception. Judgment is the resurrection card, the moment when old beliefs die and new awareness rises. The person is awakening to who you truly are. They see your authenticity, your patience, and the strength it took to stay silent while being misunderstood. This realization is transforming how they view not just you, but themselves. Judgment often brings the urge to make things right. There's a strong pull toward confession, apology, or acknowledgement. Even if they haven't reached out yet, the energy is loud. They feel called to clear their conscience. This card shows someone standing at a crossroads, knowing they cannot move forward without addressing the past. There is also forgiveness tied to judgment, but it begins within. They are learning to forgive themselves for being misled, even as they accept responsibility. This process is uncomfortable but necessary. Judgment does not allow growth without truth. And right now, truth is reshaping their emotional landscape. For you, judgment is validation. It confirms that your silence was not weakness. It was wisdom. You allowed the universe to reveal what you did not need to explain. This card shows that your energy remained clean while others carried deception. And now, the truth is calling everyone to see things as they truly are. Judgment also suggests closure or renewal. Either this person will come forward with honesty, or they will carry this realization as a permanent lesson. In both cases, the truth has already done its work. You no longer need to wonder if you were misunderstood. The answer is clear now. This card carries a sense of finality mixed with possibility. Judgment does not always promise reconciliation, but it does promise clarity. Someone who once believed lies about you has been awakened, and that awakening cannot be undone. They see you now, fully, clearly, and truthfully. Judgment closes this chapter with truth echoing louder than lies ever did. What was hidden has been revealed. What was misjudged has been corrected. And what was once broken by deception is now being healed through awareness. Justice enters this reading with a calm but unshakable presence, because once the truth is seen, balance must be restored. In the story of someone who believed lies about you and now sees the truth, justice represents the moment when everything begins to make sense. This card speaks of fairness, accountability, and the quiet power of truth rising above confusion. It shows that what was once misunderstood is now being weighed carefully, without emotion clouding judgment. Justice reveals that the person who believed those lies is no longer operating from hearsay or emotional influence. They are stepping back and looking at the situation with clear eyes. Memories are being revisited, details re-examined, and past assumptions questioned. This card shows someone mentally placing events on a scale, comparing what they were told against what they actually witnessed. And slowly, the weight shifts in your favor. Emotionally, justice brings awareness mixed with remorse. There is a deep realization that they judged you unfairly. This isn't a light understanding. It carries the heaviness of responsibility. Justice does not allow excuses. It forces them to acknowledge that they accepted a version of the story without seeking the full truth. They now understand that their silence, distance, or coldness toward you was based on false information. This card also speaks of consequences, not punishment, but inner reckoning. The person is holding themselves accountable for believing lies. They are asking themselves difficult questions. Why didn't I ask you directly? Why did I trust someone else's words over your character? Justice shows that they are now learning a lesson about discernment, honesty, and integrity, lessons that cannot be unlearned. Justice brings karmic balance. While lies once tilted the situation against you, the universe has quietly been correcting the imbalance. This card confirms that truth has its own timing, and when it arrives, it does so with clarity and permanence. There is no confusion here anymore. The fog has lifted. What is right is now obvious. Spiritually, justice affirms that you were seen even when you were misunderstood. Your restraint, your integrity, and your refusal to engage in drama have been noticed. This card shows that the universe recorded everything, the lies spoken, the pain caused, and the dignity you maintained, and now the scales are adjusting accordingly. Justice also suggests that communication may follow, but not impulsively. This person is careful now. They are choosing their words thoughtfully, afraid of making another wrong judgment. Whether they speak to you or not, their perception has already shifted. They no longer view you through the lens of deception. They see you as someone who was wronged. This card highlights truth as a form of liberation. For the person who once believed lies, seeing the truth brings both relief and discomfort. Relief because clarity is freeing, and discomfort because it forces them to face their own mistakes. Justice does not allow denial. It insists on honesty, even when it's painful. There is also a sense of respect returning. Justice restores dignity. The respect that was lost when lies were believed is now quietly coming back into place. The person sees your strength, your fairness, and your moral consistency. They understand now that your actions always aligned with truth, even when others tried to distort it. For you, justice is a powerful confirmation. It tells you that you were right to trust the process. You didn't need to chase validation or fight for your name. The truth defended you. Justice assures you that balance has been restored energetically, even if no apology is spoken out loud. This card closes with a feeling of peace, not because everything was easy, but because everything is now aligned. Someone who once judged you unfairly now understands the truth, and that understanding carries weight. Justice has spoken, and its message is clear. Truth always finds its way back, and when it does, it restores what was taken. The Seven of Swords steps forward in this reading like a quiet confession finally rising to the surface. This card speaks of lies, half-truths, and stories that were twisted just enough to sound believable. In the context of someone who believed lies about you and now sees the truth, this card reveals how deception once controlled the narrative. It shows a time when information was taken, altered, or delivered with selfish intent. Someone around you listened to words that were never meant to heal or clarify, only to protect someone else's image or agenda. And for a long time, those lies worked. This card shows that the person who believed those lies did not question them at first. The Seven of Swords carries the energy of avoidance and denial. They chose the easier version of the story because it spared them discomfort. Believing the lies meant they didn't have to confront deeper emotions, their own intuition, or the possibility that they misjudged you. There was a sense of, this is what I was told, so this must be true. Even though something inside them felt slightly off, the card shows they ignored that inner voice. But the Seven of Swords also reveals something important. Lies do not age well. Over time, cracks began to form. Stories stopped adding up. Actions didn't match words. The person who once accepted the false version of you started noticing inconsistencies. They saw behaviors that didn't align with what they had been told. This card shows mental discomfort, the kind that creeps in late at night when someone replays old conversations and realizes, something here doesn't make sense. This realization didn't come from one dramatic moment. It came slowly, through subtle observations and quiet awakenings. The Seven of Swords often represents stolen truth, but it also represents truth trying to return to its rightful place. The person began noticing your silence, your dignity, your lack of retaliation. They noticed that you didn't behave like the villain they were led to believe you were, and that contrast became impossible to ignore. Emotionally, this card shows guilt beginning to surface. Once they saw the truth, they couldn't unsee it. The Seven of Swords brings shame for believing the wrong voices and regret for not defending you when it mattered. They now realize that someone manipulated the situation, and by believing those lies, they unintentionally became part of the betrayal. This realization is heavy, because it forces them to face their own role in the misunderstanding. There is also fear attached to this card. Fear of admitting they were wrong. Fear of reaching out. Fear of facing you now that the illusion has shattered. The Seven of Swords shows someone pacing mentally, unsure how to undo the damage. They are aware that believing lies had consequences, and now they are questioning their judgment, their trust, and even the people they once felt close to. Spiritually, this card shows a lesson about discernment. The truth revealed itself not through confrontation, but through awareness. The universe allowed the deception to play out until its energy collapsed under its own weight. This card confirms that you were protected, even in silence. While lies traveled fast, truth waited patiently. And now, truth is standing tall without needing to shout. The Seven of Swords also suggests that the person who lied is being exposed, not publicly, but energetically. Their mask is slipping. The person who believed them can now see the manipulation clearly. And with that comes anger and disappointment, not toward you, but toward themselves for trusting the wrong source. This is a humbling realization. For you, this card carries reassurance. It confirms that you didn't need to explain yourself, defend yourself, or chase validation. The truth reached where it needed to go on its own. The Seven of Swords shows that what was taken from you, your reputation, your voice, your fairness, is now being mentally returned. Even if words are never spoken, the truth is known. This card closes with a quiet victory, not the loud kind, but the kind that restores balance inside. Someone now sees you clearly, free from the lies that once clouded their vision, and that clarity is something they will carry with them forever.